Hello neighbor, this is Curt with etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Thule T2 Pro XTR bike rack and see how it interacts with our 2022 Ford Edge. Now, if you've gone ahead and purchased this bike rack and you've used it a few times, please share your experiences with it in the comments below. We'd love to share your story with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision possible. So, if you've been looking for a premium, high-quality platform bike rack, something from a really renowned manufacturer like Thule is, the T2 Pro XTR could be an excellent choice for you. It's also very versatile in that it can carry bikes up to a 60-pound weight limit per tray, so it'll handle some of your e-bikes that are out there on the market. It's wheel mounted as well, and it can really get a lot of variety as far as wheelbase sizes, wheel widths. The rear wheel mount will slide back and forth to accommodate some of those wider or shorter wheelbases. And being wheel mounted, it's all done through this strap back here and this arm and hook right here. And for a couple of extra really kind of cool features, each of these has its own integrated cable lock that you can take out and fasten in right here. There is a lock for it underneath. And it can be used with Thule's one-key system, which means that you can get these locks and any of your other Thule accessories keyed alike, so you don't have a whole big ring of keys trying to figure out what goes to what. It's a very, very easy rack to use, and it is a powder-coated steel, so it's going to be very durable and corrosion resistant. And with all that being said, as far as how it fits onto our Edge, we have a pretty large frame bike here. It's got about 15.5-inch handlebars, and as you can see, this carrier keeps it well away from the back of the vehicle. Even on bumpier terrain, we're in absolutely no danger of this hitting the back of the car at any point. But with any platform bike rack, you are going to get some obscurities to your vision. It does keep the bikes pretty high off of the ground, so you are going to see them through your rear window. We are going to have some blockage of your license plate and your tail light, so for other drivers on the road, that's something that you got to be aware of that they might not be able to see very well. And for you, you're going to get some obscurity here through our rear view camera. So it's very important to understand just how much of a footprint this is leaving behind the vehicle. All right, so we're going to take a measurement from the bumper to the furthest point on the rack here, and what we're going to come up with is 36.5 inches. So keep in mind, you got a little bit more of over 3 feet back here that you got to account for whenever you're backing into a tighter space or trying to parallel park. The other thing that we want to pay attention to, because it does hold it a little further away from the vehicle, is what kind of ground clearance are we getting out of this? There's a little bumper down here at the bottom of our handle, so we'll measure from that, and from there we're going to get about just under 18 inches of ground clearance, and really that should be plenty. If you come upon a steep incline or a driveway, it's not something I'd be too worried about with this kind of ground clearance, but it is something to be aware of. Another measurement that we want to take, I had mentioned before that this bike rack can carry bikes up to 60 pounds each. So you're going to want to make sure that you're going to be comfortable lifting your bike about 22.5 inches to get it onto this rack. So whatever your bike weighs, just make sure that's comfortable for you. So one of the most common questions that we get asked in regards to these hitch bike carriers is, will you have access to your lift gate? And in the case of the Edge, we will. We're going to go right down here, brace the bike up, grab this handle, depress that button, and we're going to slowly lower it away from the vehicle. Now that we're tilted away, we can get full access into our lift gate. So if we need to get in here and grab our helmet, get some extra water, snacks, shoes, whatever we need to do after our ride or before it, we can get into there without removing the bike. Or it may be just on the way back from the trail, you want to stop at the store, get some groceries or something. Now you know that you don't have to unload your bike rack in order to get everything back there. And in order to get it back into its riding position, we don't have to depress any buttons. All we have to do is lift it back into position. When we hear the click, we're ready to get back on the road. So getting the bike on and off of the rack is actually a really simple process too. You'll start back here when you're taking the bike off at the wheel, and we're going to depress this gray button and release our wheel strap. We're just going to feed it back here through the spokes and out of the way. Next, we'll move on to our arm and hook, in which case we're going to depress this little button, slide the hook all the way up, and clear the wheel. And at this point, we're able to remove our bike and either store it or hit the trail. And if you'll remember, we got just over 3 feet hanging off of our bumper back here. And when we don't have a bike on here, we don't want to ride around with it like this and just have all that back here for no reason. So if you wanted to keep the rack in the hitch, if you take rides often enough that it's just not worth it to you to take in and out, it does have a stowaway position. We're going to use that same handle and button there, and instead of letting it drop, we're going to lift it until it clicks, and now we're in our stowed position. And from our stowed position, we have reduced that footprint behind our bumper to only about 14 inches. So by more than half, we cut that down, and really we only have a little bit over a foot now to account for. However, it is important to note that while you're going to get vision back out of your rear window, other drivers will be able to see your tail lights clearly. You're still going to have some obstruction over your license plate, and you'll definitely have some obstruction coming out of your rear view mirror. So just remember, you got about 14 or 15 inches back here when you don't have a bike loaded that you have to account for. So with all that being said, again, I think that this bike rack is an excellent choice if you're really looking for a good premium rack that's really easy to use and actually looks good on the vehicle as well. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.